what would I do differently if I was starting to trade options today? What would I focus on in priority so as to make sure that I'm successful on the long term? Well, there are a couple of things that if I was starting to trade options today, I would probably do differently that I wanted to share in this video. So hopefully, if you're starting to trade options yourself, hopefully it helps you understand a bit more about what you need to focus on at first when you start trading options. We're going to talk about things that really helped me become more successful, quote unquote successful, that if I had done at the beginning, honestly, that would have saved me a lot of time. So hopefully it helps you too. So the first thing that I would do differently if I was starting to trade options today is focusing on a fundamental understanding of options and focusing on really understanding what are options, how do they work, what are the mechanics of them. Because the thing is, at first, you might be focused on making money. And don't get me wrong, I was exactly like this at the beginning. I wanted to make money and that was probably my priority when I started trading options. And in the end, I mean, that's also what you're doing this, so as to generate positive returns in the market. However, I really do believe now with a bit of hindsight that understanding how options work, understanding how selling options work, understanding what is the cost basis, what is cost basis reduction, all of those different things, I really do believe that it makes life easier on the long term. Because if you don't understand what options are exactly, how does rolling option work and all of those different things, if you don't understand this, you won't have the stomach to handle, for example, a stock market down move, a stock market crash. And just the beginning of 2022 has shown to a lot of people that you better be prepared for those down moves because they are going to happen. So what does that mean, having a fundamental understanding of options? Because that seems very vague and I get it. Well, if I was starting today, I would really focus on understanding how the pricing of an option work. What is delta? What is vega? What is theta? All of those different things that make the option price. And after that, I will also understand what is the meaning of cost basis. What do we usually mean by cost basis reduction? Why is that important? Why are option sellers giving themselves more time when they're wrong so they can reduce the cost basis? All of those different things are extremely important so as to make sure that you can not only survive on the long term with your portfolio, but that you can also have the stomach to handle whatever is going to come in the future. Because when you trade in a year like 2021, I mean, that's not the problem. 2021, literally the market has just gone up like by 25%, 30% if I remember well. It's not difficult to make money in a market like this. It's a lot more challenging to make money in a market like 2022, where we've seen, for example, the Nasdaq losing 20% at some point since the beginning of 2022 at its lowest point. And as you must probably know, everyone is a genius in a bull market, but it really changes a lot when we come to having a down move or a bear market or whatever the change is. So if I was starting to trade options again, the thing that I would really focus on in understanding how selling options work, what is cost basis reductions, and how options are priced. And once you understand this, once you understand the value of, for example, selling options, rolling options, cost basis reduction, and all of those different things, well, it will make your life much easier. It will give you confidence, and that confidence will be the only thing that will push you to go through the hard times and not panic sell, for example, like a lot of people do during a crash. One very good example of this is look at the market since 2010. If you had bought in 2010, there is a very low probability that, if you give money to some people to invest in the markets in 2010, it's very unlikely that they're going to lose money because the market has been going up so much from 2010 to 2020. However, it is possible that those same people would have lost money during that time, even though the market has gone up. And the reason is, if you panic sell every single time there is a down move, well, you're going to lose money eventually. Well, you're still going to lose money even though the market overall is going up. And when you trade options, the confidence that you gain from understanding how options work, how cost basis reduction works, all of those different things, that confidence helps you go through those down moves and actually take advantage of them. And honestly, that's really the thing that I would tell myself if I was starting to trade options again today, is have a fundamental understanding of how options work, and the money will follow later. The money is really secondary, even though I understand that that's the primary goal when you get into options, but that the money will come. Don't worry, the money will come. The second thing that I would do differently, even though I didn't really make a mistake out of this one, I didn't really mess up on it, but that's still extremely important. And I realize even more the importance of it now that the market has been going down a bit, or like in 2020. It's trade small. And I know that Tasty Trade, for example, says that a lot about trading small and the importance of trading small, but here's my take on it. If you don't do it for at least the strategic aspect of it, trade small at least at the beginning for the learning part. The thing is, you're probably going to make mistakes as you learn how to trade options. So you might as well trade small, so at least your mistakes that you will make for sure are not going to cost you a ton of money. And if you don't want to trade small after that, if you think that this is better for you to trade big, then be my guest. Maybe it's better for you. However, at the beginning, and that comes back a bit to my first point, don't focus on the money. Focus on learning how the process works. Trade small so your mistakes don't cost you too much money. And then after that, if you want to trade bigger, if you want to scale up, like you do whatever you want once you understand that. Because it's really a long-term game in the end. And unfortunately, that's usually the thing that a lot of people are missing when they trade options, is that they don't realize that even though the trade that you're putting, you might take it off in 10 days, this overall game, your portfolio is going to last for a very long time. This is really a long-term game. So, you'd rather focus on trading small at the beginning. You're going to make mistakes, that's for sure. And if you know that you're going to be there for the next 15, 20, 25 years, then, you might as well take your time to really fully understand. And that comes back to my first point, by at least trading small so your mistakes don't cost your entire portfolio and your hard-earned savings. I know that's probably not what is being said overall on YouTube and Google, but that's the truth. I don't pretend like I'm the best at options or anything like this, but I think I have a pretty good understanding of what I'm doing now, and it took me a long time to get there. So, I really do see the value now of trading small, if not for the strategic part of it, at least at the beginning, so your mistakes don't cost your entire portfolio. I mean, that's really the main reason why you should trade small. Now, the third point, and this one, to be honest, is really important, and I see a lot of people doing the opposite of it and thinking that they're good, for example, at trading options, but in the end, it comes down more to luck. And here's my third point that I would do differently if I was starting to trade options today. I would tell myself, learn how to manage a portfolio in not a single trade. And here's why. When you trade options, the very common thing that I see people are doing is, like, let's say they're going to buy a call option. They're going to buy a call option on Apple, for example. That's going to be the only trade that they have in their portfolio. If Apple goes up by 2%, their portfolio goes up by 10%, and vice versa. If Apple loses 2%, their portfolio is down 10%, whatever it is. The problem with that approach, you're betting way too much on a single stock. Your overall performance is way too much dependent on just one stock. And the benefit of trading a portfolio that is made of plenty different stocks is that you don't rely too much on one individual stock that will make or break your portfolio. And learning how to trade a portfolio versus just trading a single stock is very different. That game is really, really different. And to be honest, I fully prefer how to trade a portfolio rather than trading a single trade, because when you trade a portfolio that is made of different trades of different stocks, and you feel that thing is living. When some stocks are going to be down, some others are going to be up, so it's going to even out everything. You manage a portfolio, and now you understand that you're doing something that is a lot more serious and that doesn't rely on luck, because you have a strategy behind it and you have that portfolio that is living on the long term, and you constantly reload, you constantly take trades off. I mean, you do your thing, and now it comes down a lot more to strategy and how you handle a portfolio than luck on a single stock, because a single stock could either go up or down. You have a 50-50 shot when you're placing your trade. But if you're placing your trade on a portfolio and you take thousands of trades every year, I mean, now it's not luck anymore. If it works, then it's because you have a strategy that produces positive results. And at the beginning, the way I was training myself at the beginning when I started to trade options is that I was really focused on the single trade that I had. For example, if I was selling a put on American Airlines, for example, well, I was really only focused on that stock. I was only having that trade in my portfolio. And the problem with this is that it pushes you to trade too big because you're focusing on just one stock. So obviously you want to make a decent amount of money on that single trade that you have. So you're going to trade bigger so you can make more. But as I said, you're only dependent on that single stock, which could either make your portfolio or break it. And that's a very dangerous route to go down, to just only trade one stock at a time. You better trade a portfolio and have that portfolio behave for you. And on the long term, you're either going to earn money through theta as you sell options or whatever way you're going to make money. But it's way better to manage a portfolio than a single trade. For example, we are in my portfolio right now. And as you can see, I have a couple different trades. I mean, I think I have around 13 different trades on right now. now, and that has the benefit of allowing me to not only rely on one single stock and so having my portfolio super volatile. Now I depend on several stocks and I'm long and short, so now you manage a portfolio and it's much more strategic rather than trading one individual stock. And personally, I found that way of trading a portfolio versus a single stock is much more reliable on the long term. I hope you enjoyed that video where I shared some stuff that I would do differently if I was starting to trade options today. I think that's quite interesting to look after with hindsight on the things that I was doing at first. For example, I was trading a bit too big. I was trading individual stocks instead of focusing on trading a whole portfolio, and I was lacking a fundamental understanding of how options work, which is really useful, especially when you go through tougher times, like for example the beginning of 2022. It really does help to have the stomach to handle whatever drawdown you're going through. Please make good and informed decisions. I'll see you in the next video, and in the meantime I wish you all the best.